Welcome to Move with Soul, the podcast where we talk about getting back into your body as you step into your leadership, your soul's purpose, and ultimately coming back to who you really are. This is the first episode ever, so thank you so much for being here. And we're going to talk about how to move your vision board into your real life. So, this is for you if you have that A4 piece of paper that you put a bunch of pictures and designs on, maybe from a magazine or on Canva, hanging over the top of your desk, just kind of collecting dust. And you're a little bit like, well, now what? First of all, I want to congratulate you in the fact that you are dreaming and you want to connect with your purpose and you want these things. You're expanding yourself, you're visualizing it, you're picturing it, maybe you're journaling about it. That's amazing because the fact that you feel connected to these things that you really want and feel are important for you, that means you're already listening to the things that your soul is calling for you to do, the things that light you up. That's amazing. But I feel like there's a little bit of a missing link there between all these manifestation things, all these intention setting things, journaling, scripting, new moon rituals, and actually bringing this stuff into our everyday life. You see, because dreaming and visioning, that's all good and grand, but it's all in our minds. It's all in the intangible. How do we bring that into our life, into things that we can touch, enjoy, taste, feel, live, and experience in the 3D reality, in our bodies? How can you embody the action steps necessary to actually bring these things into your life and not only bring them in, but actually hold them and experience them and live them to their fullest? Now, here's an example. And when I really heard this, everything just kind of connected for me. So I practice Ashtanga yoga. That's the tradition I follow. And in this tradition, we start with the physical yoga postures, the asanas. We put our body into these shapes before we learn the philosophy, before we learn about the greater ocean of this deep and meaningful concepts. We start by moving our bodies on our mat because our bodies are the things that we can hold and touch and see. And when we move them, we can understand what's going on. I feel like there's a lot of stigma, people such as myself were drawn to yoga because it looks cool and I want to be more flexible, right? But then once you start to practice these extra layers of the tradition, of the philosophy, they begin to kind of seep into your being. And I won't say that yoga has changed me, but I feel like it's brought me back to who I am by shedding layer after layer and really getting to know myself through my body. And I feel like manifestations and these vision boards, it's almost the same thing. It's like, how can we move our bodies so we can position ourselves to be able to have the things that we want, the things that our soul is crying out and calling for and wanting to bring us, right? How can we meet the universe halfway? For example, let's say you have a hike, this beautiful 2-day hike on your vision board that you were just so deeply yearning to go and see. But every time you go out for a walk, just on the sidewalk, a flat sidewalk, you are tired after 20 minutes and want to go inside. You have to condition your body in order to be able to go and experience and enjoy the thing that you really want. And when we actually show up every day and we're working towards something, we're putting in the effort in our bodies, in our real life, and with our actions, not just thinking about them over and over again. We start to really build that self-confidence and self-trust and belief like, wow, I am capable. I am capable of doing the things that I want. I'm capable of working towards the things that I want. You see, that's how we get out of our head and actually embody these things. Embody the person that goes on these hikes, right? Embody that version of you that enjoys the things that you have on your vision board and that can have them. You see, so that's where the disconnect comes in a little bit, right? There's this step where we think it and we dream it, but how do we actually take these action steps towards it? And I think that's what we don't talk about enough because it's not sexy. It's not glamorous to talk about all the effort that we have to put into getting the things we want, right? That's why there's so much about quantum leap and quantum this, right? But is it even really a quantum leap if you're showing up and you're working towards this thing every single day for days and days and days and months on end? Or have you just been positioning yourself and preparing your being, your energy, your body to be able to have the things that you really want? I feel like it's a little bit of both, but you'll have to let me know what you think. And even if just hypothetically we were able to just poof manifest things that we want right into our lives, we would miss out on all that juicy self-trust and self-belief that we put in. We're going through the mud, like working through our fears, working through working through our shit to get to this point. We wouldn't value it as much if we could just have it, right? So we dreamed it up. We put it on the vision board. We've been wanting to call this thing into our lives. Now you're like, okay, I have to take action. I actually have to show up and put effort towards this thing. But how do I know what to do? I can really only speak to my own experience, but it has helped me so much that I really feel the need to come and share this with you, is that having some type of a daily or regular movement practice where you get to connect with your body, where you get to actually see and feel in your body and like connect with your bigger dreams and your visions while you're moving your body. Having that connection there in your movement practice, it creates that connection for the rest of your day, the rest of your life. By having that connection between your body and your heart or like your mind, right? When you're moving your body, something happens where you just start to come back to yourself. And even if it's just for a second, let's say your mind pauses. Let's say 3 seconds every day you get on your mat, your mind pauses. Over time, you start to build that skill. Or I don't even want to call it a skill, but I feel like it's coming back to our natural state, right? Without all the thoughts, without all that thought energy happening, we come back to that stillness. And that is what, at least that's where I've always found my next best steps to take. It's when I connect with my body. It's when I get out of the journal. It's when I get out of the wishing and the desiring and the wanting and just coming back to that myself in my body, in the real life, where I can touch it. That's where I've always found that next step to take. So we can even do a little exercise right here. Pick one thing that you have been wanting to manifest. You put it on your vision board. You so deeply are desiring this thing. And just imagine right now that you are doing it. You're living it. You have it. And notice how your body reacts. Do you feel this rising sensation where you're kind of like, oh, I'm moving towards it? Or maybe a little bit of a shrinking or pulling back? Maybe nothing at all. But just start to observe the way that your body reacts to the things that you're doing and the way your body reacts to the things that you want. Because that's going to give you so many clues as to not only what next steps to take to move you towards this thing, but even clues to, wow, is this thing really for you? Is this thing really what you want? Or is it coming from a TikTok that you saw and you said, wow, well, that person's happy doing that thing, so I probably will be too. You see, this is how we start to build that bridge between our dreams and our visions and our everyday life, is by coming back to our bodies, back to what our vessel, what we can see, what we can touch, what we can move, what we can understand. So don't underestimate the power of moving your body in terms of, finding out, okay, is this what I really want? And how do I position myself to have it, to live it, to experience it? It's just not talked about enough. So if you're interested in having a little bit of support or having some type of a resource for you to really connect with the things that you want and discover your own best action plan, I created a mini course about bring your vision board to life and how to set embodied goals. And it's going to take you through this entire process. We're going to do a visualization meditation all the way down to you actually physically writing out your goal, the thing that you want and the way you're going to show up. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll put the link for the waitlist down in the show notes. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And let me know what came up for you. What's that one thing that you really, really want to bring into your reality that you are ready for? And what are you doing so you can hold it? Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.